So thank you for your understanding with that. I am going to do a really quick, brief recap of what we started out with, and then go into what information we have received since then. So again, this afternoon at 3:32, we had gotten dispatched here in downtown to a structure fire at the address of 810 Houston Street here in downtown Fort Worth at the Sandman Hotel. When companies started arriving on scene, they switched that call type to multiple calls of an actual explosion that had taken place. At that point in time, we switched gears a little bit from looking at it from a fire standpoint, and how many, life safety is our number one. That's our priority anytime we roll up on a scene like this. So we did have to switch gears a little bit from a fire to an explosion. Now there was live fire that was in the building that has been extinguished since then. And I apologize for this. The wind's kind of got my pages blowing around. It did go to a second alarm, and what that did was allow us to bring in more resources to help with the patient care and stuff that we needed, the fire, to make sure that we were doing a search of the entire building, and to put the fire out. We did have the ambulance, which comes and they can take multiple people to the hospital at one time. We had our MCI, our mass casualty trailer that came, that offers a lot more resources and equipment for us to be able to do our jobs. The calls came in. We had initial calls that people were trapped in the basement. We did extract several people from the basement that weren't able to get out on their own at that point in time. We have since then started doing our secondary all clear. We have found another patient that was in the building. Now, earlier when I talked to you guys, I said that there was one person that was not accounted for. That person was found, but since then we have found that we had another patient that was trapped there in the building. Again, Arlington has cooperated with us, as they always do, and staged some of their apparatus here to help us with our call volume. And we do have that Family Assistance Center that's located at Lot 15 at Sundance Square parking lot, 200 5th Street. So what that Family Assistance Center does is it goes back, if you're looking for loved ones, if I know we're having an issue right now because of the amount of people that are down here with cell phone service, if you have a loved one that you cannot get in touch with, you can go to the location at Lot 15 at the Sundance Square parking lot, 200 5th Street, and we've got resources that are there to help you come in contact with your loved ones if you have not been able to make contact with them since this incident started. This is still a very active scene. Based on our characteristics of the explosion at this time, we have been working in collaboration with the ATF, the FBI, with our arson and bomb division as well. And so, again, we have not made 100% determination, but we wanted to make it clear that this was some type of gas explosion. And we're still working on the details of that to figure out what all caused that at this point in time. The hotel was operational. We do know that there was some reconstruction and stuff that was going on. There were 26 rooms that were occupied. So like I said, we did get, people were either checked into the rooms and had gotten out on their own, or we did go in there and do some rescues on some patients, to make sure that we could get them to the proper immediate emergency care. The patient count as we speak is 20. At this point in time, we do not have any casualties. We don't have any deceased that we're aware of at this time after all the search and stuff that we've done. So I want to bring an emphasis to that. I can open it up from questions at this time.
Sir, do you think that the reconstruction might have had, can you explain a little bit about what that work was and if it might have had anything to do with the explosion?
Well, so the question is, as far as the reconstruction goes, is that what may have caused the event that happened today? I don't know the details on the reconstruction itself. I don't know if it was, the hotel was operational, and so I guess basically I can't answer that question specifically for you.
So the number of injured has gone from 11 our last update to now, at least 20?
We've got 20 total. There were 19 that were treated here on scene and or transported to local hospitals, and we do have one patient that has walked into the hospital on their own from here on scene to get treatment at the hospital.
Still only one critical.
I'll let Matt Zavasky with MedStar talk about that.
So the total patient count from this particular incident currently remains at 20. 19 of them were treated on the scene. Of those 19, 1 was in critical condition, 4 were in serious condition but not life-threatening. The rest had minor injuries. So far, 14 patients have been transported to local hospitals. 1 patient did actually self-transport to JPS with minor injuries. So a total of 21 patients total injured from this event so far that we know of.
Now, were these people who were in the building? Were they walking on the sidewalk? Were they driving? Do you have any idea on where people were when they were injured?
They were, we don't know where they were when they were injured. They could have been outside, they could have been inside. So we're not sure.
You said you were able to find the person missing, right?
I'm going to let Craig answer that, but yes.
And that was for you, the 14 that were taken, does that include the person who walked in, or is it 15?
No, it'd be 15. We transported 14 to the hospital using 12 ambulances and our ambus.
Can you tell us which hospitals?
All of them.
All area.
Yes, we triage them and we rotate them to make sure that no one hospital is going to be inundated with patients.
We saw a woman being treated outside of the hotel. Is that the patient that was missing or the person that was missing?
Don't know.
Someone was found when you did the second sweep. You mentioned that. Were they
Yes, ma'am. So when we do our preliminary search, it's a real get in quick. At that point in time, we weren't really sure. You know, they were talking about the stability and stuff of the structure itself. So when we do our primary search, it's a real get in there fast, as quick as you can, kind of room by room type thing, just like we do in house fires and other incidents. Hazardous materials if we're going into a structure. Then once we kind of get a little bit of a headway on the incident, it allows us to go back in a second time and take a little bit more time to do a more detailed and thorough search, just to make sure we can go room by room, looking through all the different places. You know, at some instances, like on this one, there was some smoke that was involved. So that secondary happens after everything's kind of cleared out a little bit, and we've got a better visual standpoint to go in and really feel that we've done a lot better of a job outside of, you know, the second time.
So just so I'm clear here, is it 20 or 21 patients?
It was 20 total. 19 were from here on scene. No, I'm sorry. So
This is a very fluid situation. We're getting updates as we go. So there were 21 patients total that reported injuries from this particular incident. We all treated 20 on scene. 1 left the scene, went to JPS on their own.
Okay. Thank you.
Does that help?
I'm glad we got you the right answer to that question.
Can you tell us more information about for those who are trying to find their loved ones? Can you give that address?
So that address, we call it the Family Assistance Center. Sometimes it's known as the Reunification Center, just to be clear with all the different terminologies and stuff that goes on. That is actually at, like I said, it's at parking lot 15. At the Sundance Square parking lot. The address is 200 5th Street. 200 5th Street. So again, like I said, if you've got loved ones or family members that you have not been able to come in contact with since this incident happened, you can go down to that location and they will be able to help you get in touch with those family members. Like I said, I do know we have, just from the amount of people that are down here right now, we have been having some some cell phone issues, not being able to get out or in and things of that nature.
Sir, is there anything you can say about like how often gas lines might be inspected and if there's been any issues in this particular area?
So all I can say on that is I do know Atmos is on scene. The fire department is not over gas inspections and things like that, so you would have to contact Atmos to get that information.
Right. Were there any issues with access as you guys are trying to clear the building? I understand from talking to one of the people who was inside that stairwells have been destroyed, and so that made it difficult to exit. How about for you guys just getting in to be able to clear things?
Yeah, so I know some of the places when they were making their way down into, you know, like I said, we had reports of people that were trapped down in the basement, and because of the explosion that took place, some of those access areas were either covered up or didn't feel safe at that point for people to get down into those areas to make sure that we were able to get everybody out. So that did play into the tactical standpoint of this operation, was just safety for our people to make sure we could go down there and safely bring out whoever that we could find without causing more of an issue than what we already had.
Is there a chance residents who have cars inside the evacuation zone may not be able to leave tonight?
I'll let PD talk about that.
Go ahead. I don't know what the question was. Sorry. Give
Is
me the
there a
answer question.
chance residents with vehicles inside the evacuation zone will be able to leave tonight?
The plan right now, as far as the perimeter that's been set up, is after we talk with some of the experts that are reviewing the structural integrity of the building, if we're able to collapse the perimeter somewhat to open up some more areas, that would give people access to vehicles and the businesses in the area. Obviously, we won't be doing that until it is safe to do so, but the last thing we want to do is inconvenience anyone who needs a vehicle to get home. So we'll work with everyone we can to make sure we allow access to areas as it's safe so they can access their vehicles as quickly as possible. Yes, sir.
Make it chief.
Been able to determine anything about the structural integrity of the building?
We do have property management on scene, and they are looking into that as we speak. We're still, like I said, trying to make sure and clear the building to make sure that we've got everybody out at this point in time. So I'm not even sure yet if they've been able to get in until we've kind of went in and did everything that we needed to do from a life safety standpoint to make sure everybody has gotten out. I would not say as of yet. Like I said, we have had the primary search, but we're still going through right now, going room to room to make sure we do the secondary search, just so we can say without a doubt that we have gotten everybody out and there's nobody else left inside.
Good question.
The building's 104 years old, kind of a historic structure here. What does it mean to see this kind of event happen?
Well, you don't skip to that first. You want to make sure people are safe. Really special thanks to our first responders, other jurisdictions that have stepped in to help our 4th Fire Department and Police Department to get to this place. But of course, it's a beautiful building that was just recently renovated and opened, and so we'll work with the ownership of that building as quickly as possible, as soon as it's structurally sound enough to do so. But it's heartbreaking for downtown Fort Worth, of course, and at this point, well, our hearts and prayers are with the victims at area hospitals. So.
Were you here at City Hall when the explosion?
Yeah, I was actually at our new building, at the new Pier 1 building. So, but this building was pretty quickly evacuated, as was the federal building and others in the surrounding area.
Did you hear it?
I did not hear it, but our staff that was here at City Hall definitely did. Most of them kind of described it as an earthquake sound. Yeah. Any other questions?